Happy Friday. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here today. This is such a good one. For those of you that are new, my name is Orly and this is the DIY Designer. I do really great DIY fashion and home decor and styling videos and all sorts of fun stuff. And today is awesome. I'm going to teach you how you can create custom reusable stencils that you can use either for fashion or home decor, whatever you want. I'm going to teach you how to do vinyl transfers where you can make custom graphics that go on anything from gifts to mugs to tumblers to mirrors, wall decals, anything that you want. So fun. And then lastly, we're going to do iron-on transfers so you can make custom clothing. And we're doing all of it with a Cricut. So I got my Cricut Explore Air probably like 6 months ago now. It can be really overwhelming when you just get the product. You're like, oh my God, like, it can do everything. Like, where do I start? To me, these are the most usable techniques to learn: the stencil, the vinyl transfer, and the iron-on. So those are the ones I'm going to walk you through. And I'm going to teach you everything from how to actually design the graphics depending on the material and the technique you're using, and then also how to apply them, the proper ways to apply them so you get really clean, crisp results. So that's it. That's what we're going to do. I want to thank Cricut for sponsoring this video. I love them so much, and working with them on a consistent basis has really been a joy. So thank you so much, Cricut. All right, guys, let's get into this. This is going to be a great one. All right, we're gonna start with vinyl transfers. Now, when you open up your Cricut design space, right when you get it, this is what it looks like. There's product updates and tons of projects that already exist. If you wanna start there, it is a really good place to start because when you click on a project, it's gonna give you everything you need. Everything from the description of the product itself to the materials that you'll need to actually make it happen, how you would prepare them and apply them, and then the image itself, the SVG file, will be available. You can either buy it for 99 cents, or if you choose to do the Cricut Access, it'll be free. But we're gonna do one from scratch because I wanna show you how to do that. So when you click New Project, this is what the design space looks like. On the left, there are different options, and I'm just gonna click Text. It opens up a box and I'm typing in Murphy's. Even though my last name is technically still Shani, we are the Murphys, the Murphy family, and I'm making a mug. So when I open up the font, there's all these different font options that you can do. Cricut fonts are available for purchase, but system fonts are all the ones that you've downloaded over time. I downloaded a font that is the Friends logo font. It's called Gabrielle Weiss, and I got it from dafont.com. Now on the top here are all the areas that you can actually adjust your text. So I'm increasing the letter space so that it spaces out so I have room to do those little color dots that go in the middle of the logo. Now I go over to the left and I click Shapes. Then I click Circle and I size a small little circle to do the little dots in between the words. You just copy and paste 6 of them once they're sized and put one in between each. Now real quick, the first version I do, I actually cut without these dots, but I go in and fix it after and I'll explain why. So I kind of wanted to do a play on the episode titles of Friends, which is like the one with the couch, the one with the monkey, like whatever. So I was like, the one with the Murphys. I end up changing it, but this is kind of where I was starting off at. Now I'm gonna highlight the entire thing because do you see on the right how there's multiple cuts? If you highlight it and click Wield, the entire thing will turn into one cut graphic as opposed to multiples. Now grab the little drag and drop and you're just gonna adjust it for size. I wanted it to be about 4 inches, so I adjusted it to 4, clicked Make It, and there you can see on the mat. It's gonna show you where you're at. It is lined up in the top left-hand corner, and for vinyl, we don't need to worry about mirror. Leave that as is, it's not relevant for vinyl. Now I'm gonna take my vinyl and I'm gonna cut a piece that's gonna fit exactly where I need it. So it was just about 2 by 4 inches. The shiny side of vinyl goes up. So in this little corner, just like it showed us on the design space, I lay my vinyl down right across the top edge, line it up, and put it in the machine. Now I realized I didn't film this, so I kind of reshot this part, but basically the mat goes underneath that little feeder. So there's one little hook on the left and the right-hand side. You're gonna slide it in and the button will be flashing when it's ready to go. So once you've gone through the design process and you click Make It and you're actually ready to cut, it will be flashing, you feed it in, it will suck it in a little bit, and then you press the flashing C and it will start cutting. So it's gonna cut, do its thing, happen super fast, and now you're ready to peel. So I'm going to peel back the vinyl, and there you go. You can see I've got it, the one with the Murphys. Now you're gonna use your little tool here, and this is how you take out any little details that are not part of the design. They're cut, but they do need to be removed. So like the center of an O, the center of a P, those will all be removed after the fact. Now, when you're using vinyl, you need to use transfer tape. This is the shiny gridded side. The back sort of white piece you don't need. You just need this shiny piece, and you're gonna lay it right on top of your vinyl. Now peel the entire thing off of your mat, and you need to basically transfer the vinyl from the sheet it's on to the transfer tape. To do that, you're gonna use something like this, a credit card, a tongue depressor, the little Cricut tool. Front and back is really important. Make sure you take your time to not only do the front, but do the back so that it peels. It will transfer off if you notice one letter didn't transfer. Don't worry, just close it back up, re-zhuzh it, give it a little bit more love, and you'll be good to go. And there you go. You can see the one with the Murphys. I was in good shape so far. So take your mug and you're gonna kind of eyeball it to find your straight line. Now, depending on what you're doing your vinyl transfer on, you can use a ruler and chalk and make sure everything's level if you're doing it on like a wall or whatever. But for me, this was easy to eyeball. I laid it down, looked at it. Once it was where I wanted it, I smushed it down with my hands and then with my little tool. Again, give it a lot of love, a lot of love. You really want it to transfer and be permanently on this mug. Once you've given it some love, you're gonna peel it back. And there you go. You can see that the graphic is actually right on the mug and it looks perfect. Now, the main reason I didn't do the dots before was because I didn't want to have to cut out individual little, like, 2 little red vinyl dots, 2 little yellow vinyl dots. And I thought, you know what, I can actually do it with a paint pen. So this was my original plan. I went in with a little paint pen and I just did like a little droplet. By doing a droplet, it stayed sort of 3-dimensional and it ended up looking exactly like vinyl, which was really cool. However, when I decided to update the graphic and the mug, I ended up having a better idea, and I'll show that to you right now. So here it is, though. It was looking really good. The one with the Murphys, the little dots, it's got the right font, super cute. What I did is I decided to actually have Murphys on one side, like the logo. Just Murphys on one side. And I printed it with the white dots. I lost one there between the R and the P, but I fixed that. And on the back, I wrote the one with the coffee. That made more sense to me. The episode is the one with the coffee, and the logo is Murphys. Because I did white vinyl, then I just did the little paint on that white vinyl. And the main reason that I want to share that is that if there are certain elements that are overwhelming to you, think outside the box. To me, going and buying red, blue, yellow vinyl, cutting all these tiny dots seemed annoying. So this was a really good hack for getting the same look, but being a little creative and thinking outside the box. So don't worry about it. Don't get overwhelmed. Just do what you can do. Oh, they're just so cute. Okay, this is like a 30-second bonus one, but I just wanted to show you. I had this idea of doing like really delicate line drawings on the mugs for like a really chic look. The really thin lines were very hard to do because you're peeling away so much vinyl and you're only keeping this tiniest amount. So I ended up adjusting the graphic and using these bigger ones where the line is actually a little bit thicker and more substantial, and it worked much, much easier. Very cool. Again, I'm happy to send these to you. I did do one version with a thinner line, and it took a lot longer for me to actually peel away the vinyl. The whole thing wanted to peel up. So it just took a little longer, but it totally is doable. But I love the way it ended up coming out. The handle on the mug looks like her ear, but the two of them together, like, they're a pretty cool collection. All right, let's move on to the reusable stencils because these are amazing. So I'm gonna design this one in Canva. Now, Canva's a totally free website, and I love it because it's super visual. It's basically like a hack for non-graphic designers to create like professional looking graphics, which I love. So what I did is I actually looked up just doormat picture, and was like a million pictures, and I was able to pop in a photo of basically the exact mat I'm gonna use so that I can actually visualize what this is gonna look like, get a sense of scale, of scope, of color, layout, all of those things. So I decided the perfect mat for us would say, the house was clean yesterday. Sorry you missed it. Because that's so perfect because my kids tornado my house on a regular basis. So once I decided on what I was gonna write, it was just a matter of like picking out what font I wanted to do, and I was playing around with different versions. Once you decide on the actual font that you want, we need to turn it into a functional stencil. That means that we don't want the holes in the middle of the O, the hole in the middle of the E, or the H to be free. We want it connected all in one piece. So what I'm gonna do is remove the rug, right? Because I don't actually need that. That was only to get the idea. And now make it as big as I can. Now I made the background gray and the font black so I could kind of look at it and get a sense of the stencil. Now what I need to do is I need to create a connecting factor from all of those little holes inside the H, the E, the O to the outside of the stencil. So right now I'm gonna do this in neon so you can see, but I add a line, just a line, and I'm putting it right there. This is going to eventually connect them together so that when it cuts, the stencil is all one piece and I don't have these little holes that need to be added in. It's all one piece. So you're gonna add a little line everywhere that there's a hole. Now you'll get a sense of it when I make it gray. So look, I'll turn the yellow into gray. And do you see? This is now creating a stencil where everywhere that there's a hole, it's being connected to the outside of the stencil. So see here, this is a regular text. Well, that little hole in the A needs to be connected. The D, the O, the R. So by putting a little line, that turns it into stencil font. So that means that you can create a stencil out of any font you want. You just need to remember that it needs to all be connected. So now I export that out of Canva and bring it into Cricut. All I do now when you import it in is you click what you want cut. So what do I want cut out? Well, I want the letters cut out. Everything else is a stencil. That's the piece I'm actually gonna use. The letters, I need them to be cut and removed. So I click each of those letters until everything is removed and then click continue. You can see on the left, that's a cut file. That's the one I wanna use. So I click save. Now I grab it and I insert it. Here it is on my screen. It's ready to go, perfectly ready to go. Now, you have two options with sizing, is the drag and drop, or I knew I wanted it to be 24 inches long, so I just typed in 24 and it was ready to go. Now, I'm gonna click Make It. It's going to, oh, sorry, I sized it one more time. Now I click Make It. All right, at this point, it's gonna ask me, you're using a larger mat, is that okay? And yes, it is. I have a 12 by 24 mat, so I say, yep, good, I'm using a large mat. Now again, I don't need to worry about mirroring here. This is not something that needs to be mirrored, and I click next. Now after trying out a bunch of the stencils, I'll tell you that using the thickest cardstock option actually works. So like a glitter cardstock would be really good, and do it on more. When it has the option of default, I click more. Now here's my 24 by 12 mat, and it comes with a protective layer. You wanna make sure you save that protective layer because you're always gonna put it back on your mat when you're done. Now I'll link these stencil sheets below, but I bought 12-inch stencils, 12 by 12-inch stencil sheets so that I could use them on my regular mats, but two of them together is perfect. So I line them up, butt them up exactly, and put a little piece of tape so that I end up with one large stencil. Get rid of any air bubbles, and we're ready to print. So just like I showed you before, right? You feed it in, that little button is flashing because everything was ready to go on my computer. Now I press the C and it will start cutting. Now, one thing I'll say is if you cut it, you can always cut it again. So like what I did with this is I let it cut, and then while it was still in there, I pressed the little C button again, and I cut it one more time. It made it come apart so easily, like each thing just separated. The letters popped right out because it was such a good, strong cut. Now, this part just takes time. Like you just need to peel it back. I used the protective sheet to constantly cover the sticky area that I was peeling it back because like the stencil wants to fall back on the sticky part. So just kind of keep using it, take your time, pull it off, and there you can see all the letters are cut out, and there is my stencil ready to go. And like I said, the hole in the H, the hole in the O, they're all connected because of those little lines that we did. So now I'm gonna use some tacky spray. I tested it on my rug to make sure that it didn't stay sticky, and it didn't. So all I wanna do is focus it right where the letters are. So I went outside, I added the tacky spray, I came back in, I lined it up, and I pressed it down. Now, when you guys are making these, however you're doing it, you really need to make sure that you're like stippling the paint into the fibers. You wanna use your fingers to create some pressure around the letters so that they don't bleed and it doesn't go underneath. Not a ton. I mean, you can see how I'm doing it. Thumb and index finger pressing down and sort of stipple. You don't want just paint on the very top. You really want to try to get as much paint inside as possible. And I would say 2 coats is going to give you a really, really good, solid, dark sort of effect. When I did this, I only did 1 coat because I was like so curious to see if it was working. I couldn't wait. So I did the entire thing and I just did 1 coat, and then I peeled it, and you'll see how I touch it up. So we peel. Boom. I mean, that's pretty good for 1 coat, you guys. Now what you need to do, which takes literally like 10 seconds, is just connect those little lines. Those are the little lines you created in your stencil so that it would all be one stencil. All you do is like boop, 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 and it's gone. Boop, 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 and fill it in. So this is totally worth it. Turning it into a proper stencil with the little lines and the holes is 1000% worth it because it makes it happen so much faster. I went back over all of my words with a second coat with the stencil off. Just want to take your time and really stipple it in so that it's nice and bold. And you guys, I was obsessed. We had friends over that night and everybody that walked in the door was like, that mat's amazing. I was like, I made it. They could not believe it. It looks crisp and clean. It's dark black. The stencil worked perfectly. The font worked perfectly. And yes, for all of these, if you guys want them, I am happy to send you the file if you want to go ahead and make one of these for yourself. But look at that. I mean, that's some crisp saturation right there. Boom, super stoked. Okay, real quick, I do want to show you guys how you could make reusable stencils for clothing, and I just want to walk you through it. I made this leopard stencil that I used in my Bleach video I did 2 weeks ago, so I want to show you. This is another one that I'm going to do in Canva. So I have a 12 by 12 sheet here, and I just Googled like free leopard print, free zebra print, free whatever print. When you do this, you do not want to stretch it all the way like this. The reason being that everywhere that this black, that's what's getting cut out, it's open to the outside. Like all those edges will be open and like weird and flaily. You don't want that. So you want to size it so that there is a border. Just the same as you wanted the holes in the middle of the O connected to the outside, you want this all set inside. That way you pop each one of them out. Same with, let's say, the star graphic. If let's say you wanted one giant star, right? You just put in a star and you could have this enormous giant stencil. Or you could add a bunch and size them and adjust them to create this kind of a pattern. Again, you don't want anything up and out of the border. That is open to the outside. You don't want that. So make sure that whatever stencil you're doing is all set within the inside. And this is the stencil that I did. I did kind of like a reverse bleach leopard print. And I reused that stencil over and over, and look at how crisp and perfect that pattern is. Same thing with the star. I did it on these jeans, a little tacky spray on the back. It's just a step and repeat process, and you end up with an amazing stencil. Okay guys, we're gonna move on to iron-on transfers. This is our last one. Now I wanna show you a couple options here. This is another one that I wanted to do in Canva because there's a font that I really love. So I'm just writing one of a kind, and I'm gonna make it really big so I can get a sense of the text. And on the left, there's a million different fonts. You can pick any of the fonts that you want. Again, you could easily design this within the design space, but there is one font, this one, that I can't find the name of, and I really wanna use it. Now, instead of keeping it as one graphic, I actually made each word individual so that I could like size it and adjust it. Now, let's say that you found this picture somewhere. Let's say this was just a graphic you found online, like a JPEG, and you're like, oh, I love that. You want to turn it into a t-shirt, okay? So I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna save it. Now you can see down there, by the way, that I did create individual files for each one because I'm gonna do one version in where each line is in a different color, and I wanna show you how to do that. So I'm just gonna select all of these in Canva and save them. But again, imagine that this was just a picture, little graphic text you found that you loved. So you're gonna open up your design space and you have the option of adding in templates. So I added in a t-shirt template. It's just to visualize it. You don't need to, but you can do it. Now, like I said, you could just click text, write one of a kind, do your font, and do the entire thing within the design space, of course. The other option is upload that graphic, either a graphic that you make or one you find online. So here it is with the white background. Click complex and continue. Now we are going to click everything that we want to disappear. So I click the background, I click the hole in the O, the A, the D, and you see a cut file where only the letters one of a kind are cut out. I click great, insert, grab it, and pop it into my design space. Now I'm just gonna drag and drop and adjust by size. About 7 to 8 inches was what I wanted, and so it's good to go. There it is. Now I would move on and I would just say make it. It's on a larger mat. It's gonna double check with me that I'm okay with that. I am, so I click okay. Now, this is super important. Anytime you're doing iron-on transfers, you must mirror it. Mirror it so that it flips. Otherwise, your text will be backwards. That's very important. Now we're gonna click our material. You can either go with the exact material that you want. What I've started doing is picking a heavier weight material just so I know it really cuts through. I'm gonna take this pink iron-on transfer, and when you do iron-on, the shiny side goes face down. So you wanna be looking at the matte side. So shiny side face down and always mirror it. Now, I printed it and peeled it, but I'm gonna show you in more detail this version. So let's say you wanna do a multiple color graphic, but you wanna keep it simple still. The easiest way to do that is to do each word in a different color. So what I did is I imported in the one, the of a, and the kind as 3 separate graphics. On the right-hand side, you can click that hide button. And what it's gonna do is it's just gonna temporarily hide it so you can cut each one at a time. So I hid everything except for the word one. Then I move forward to print it. And now it's printed, I'm cutting it, and there's my word one. Again, you're just gonna peel it back, grab your little weeding tool and pull out the little hole in the O. Now I'm gonna peel this off and put it off to the side while I go ahead and do the next one. So I did the of A, I'm gonna line it up. Again, I hid everything else and I'm only printing those words. I went over, I printed it, and now I'm peeling it. Again, grab your weeding tool, take out the hole in the O, take out the hole in the A. I'm gonna peel this off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the last one, which is the word kind. You can see again on the right, I make only the word kind visible. I move forward, I mirror, I print, same process. Once you're in the habit of this, you can do 1,000 of these so fast. It's really just a matter of getting the hang of it. So again, I peel it, I weed it, and I'm ready to go. Now this is a really great hack for making sure that your graphic is centered. Take your t-shirt and fold it in half. Make sure that the neckline is in half, the underarms, that you're perfectly even, and then iron it. That little crease in the shirt is gonna be your guide for center. So now I know where my graphic needs to be centered. So I'm gonna start off with the word one, then the of, and the one thing that's nice about making them individual is that you can actually like really adjust them to be exactly where you want them, as tight or as not as you want. And now we're just gonna use our easy press and iron it. So for every material that you're using, like whatever t-shirt you're using or whatever vinyl you're using, you can actually put both those factors into the Cricut website and it will tell you exactly what temperature and for how long to iron. So I always iron on the front and the back, and then once you let it cool, it'll also tell you whether it should cool or not, or whether you should peel while it's hot. Then you peel it and you can see it's stretchy, it's machine washable, the color, the crispness, the detail, it's all amazing. This shirt I ended up loving. I wore this yesterday actually. If you pull back and you realize you're getting some resistance, just grab your iron, give it a little bit more love, and you're good to go. But this is it, guys. Put them on jackets, put them on t-shirts, on jeans, on joggers. I absolutely love them. All right, you guys, that's it. I hope that this was helpful. I know there was a lot of info in here, but the more that I use mine, the more I learn it can do and the more comfortable I get. They're just building blocks. So I just want to urge you guys to just start with one project. Start with one technique, one thing that you get really comfortable in and you kind of master, and then move on to the next. Don't get overwhelmed, otherwise you'll never even start. So again, like I said, I am happy to send over those files that I created if you want to use some of those designs. So just head over to DIYdesigner.com, email me, and I will email you whichever one you want. I'm happy to do that. So all right, you guys, that's it. That's it. Thanks for being here today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next Friday for another great video. Have a beautiful week.